Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video, I turned the NBA into March Madness in NBA 2K25. Alright, so let me now explain it to you guys how this is exactly going to work. In 2K, you can't exactly make it into March Madness, so we are going to have to take some creative liberties here. But there is a lot of stuff that I was able to add to make it more like college. First off, every single player right now is in free agency, and this is going to kind of be the transfer portal. Teams are going to have to go get players to commit to their programs. And to make it more like college, there's actually no salary cap. So you can go sign Jokic and Giannis and Luka if you can get them to all commit to your team. So that's the first thing that we're doing to make it more like college. Free agency is technically the transfer portal. Just ignore the salary cap and ignore the expected contracts. So next off, I'm going to show you guys what teams we actually have in here. For the teams I decided to add, the main thing I went off of is what teams have the most active players in the league right now. And I also added a lot of teams that are in the tournament this year. So those teams will be in it. And then I also added a bunch of teams that have history that I just thought should probably be in this video. So again, there's not every team, but we do have a lot here. Do not mind the names of the team. I did not make these teams, and sometimes for some reason 2K does not allow you to have certain words, so that's why these creators had to like word it like this. So as you can see, Wisconsin is spread out. I'm guessing 2K doesn't allow you to have Wisconsin as a team name for some reason, so ignore those. Just pay attention to the logos. First off, we have Wisconsin. Obviously we have Baylor, Duke, Purdue, UCLA, Ohio State, Gonzaga, Louisville, BYU, Houston, Iowa State, Wake Forest, Oregon, Illinois, Florida, California, Marquette, Indiana, Georgetown, UConn, Kansas, Texas, Arkansas, Texas Tech, St. John's, Alabama, Oklahoma, Michigan State, North Carolina, Maryland, LSU, Auburn, USC, Tennessee, Arizona, and finally Michigan. Now, only thing left to do is let these teams try and get these players to commit to their teams. Again, there's no salary caps, so they can bring as many players on as they want. But before we see where these players commit, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe, and shout out to Jermaine. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, and if you guys want your comment to be on the next video, all you guys have to do is leave a like and subscribe. We're almost 200 subs, guys, so let's keep it growing. Let's get into the video. All right, so it actually took till day 2 for some players to get offers, but we got Giannis. He has a lot of offers, as you can see, all 100%. Again, no salary cap. So if teams don't offer max contracts, it's kind of on them. But Giannis has 8 offers, Luka has 8, KD has 12, LeBron has 2, and so far those are the only players that have offers. Hopefully it will pick up. I am controlling every team right now, which could influence it, but I'm hoping not. And we have our first players to sign. Luka commits to Arkansas, Giannis commits to St. John's, Kevin Durant commits to Wisconsin, LeBron commits to Michigan, and AD commits to Gonzaga. We have some other players getting more offers. Jokic has only 1 offer, and it's from Michigan, so Michigan could have LeBron and Jokic here potentially. Embiid has 4 offers, and Steph Curry right now, the player that most teams want, he has 22 offers. So Joel Embiid commits to Louisville, Steph Curry commits to Gonzaga to team up with AD, so that's a big 2 already. Tatum is going to go to UNC, and Jimmy Butler commits to UConn. Now we have Jokic with a lot more offers. Shea is getting offers now. Some another day, see where people go. Jokic ends up committing to UConn. Shea commits to Wisconsin to team up with Kevin Durant. That's going to be an insane duo as well. Anthony Edwards going to commit to Michigan to play with LeBron. Wemby has 2 offers, but neither of these teams decided to give him max contracts. So a little bit confusing there on why they would not want to offer him. But again, there's more teams in here than normal. I don't remember exactly the amount of teams I have in here right now. But these teams have to get a move on. They might be losing out on all the prospects. Devin Booker commits to UNC. He's going to team up with Jason Tatum. Kawhi commits to UConn. Now they have Jimmy Butler and Kawhi. That's a pretty good defensive duo. Kyrie is going to commit to Arkansas. Now he's going to be teaming up with Luka. So they're back together. Donovan Mitchell commits to Michigan State. And Paul George commits to Ohio State. John Morant is going to also commit to Ohio State. And Wemby is going to go to UNC. So now UNC has Wemby and D-Book. And they also have Tatum. So UNC is looking like a pretty stacked roster right now. Also, Jaylen Brown goes to Michigan State. And he's going to team up with Donovan Mitchell. Near the end of free agency already, these players better commit as soon as possible. They also can do some late commits. Again, there's no period where they can't sign. But let's see who signs up next. Tyrese Halliburton is going to go to USC. Pascal is going to go to Ohio State. Chris Middleton is going to be Texas Tech's first signing. Derek White's going to go to UNC. Jalen Brunson is going to go to Indiana. Sabonis is also going to go to Texas Tech. Kristaps is going to go to BYU. DeMar DeRozan is going to Marquette. But as you guys can see, there's plenty of good players for these teams to go sign. Most of these guys probably are going to be late commits because teams are not offering. LaMelo has some offers from the Cyclones and the Bruins. Zion has a lot of offers. Every team pretty much want to go get Zion. But Dame, he has no offers yet. Jaren Jackson is going to end up committing to Auburn. LaMelo Ball commits to Iowa State. Zion ends up committing to Texas. Franz Wagner commits to Arkansas. DeJounte Murray commits to Oklahoma. Cat is going to commit to Indiana. So I believe that's Brunson and Cat back together. Paulo is going to be Oregon's first signing. Laurie is going to commit to Texas to play with Zion. Bradley Beal is going to be Cal's first signing. Desmond Bane is going to commit to Texas Tech. De'Aaron Fox is going to go to Texas Tech as well to team up with Chris Middleton. Bam's going to go to Wake Forest. Jalen Williams is going to go to Houston. Evan Mobley is going to go to Kansas. Michael Porter Jr. is going to Baylor. And we're officially on the last day that players can sign in this first period. Dame still has no offers. Tyrese Maxey still has 7 offers. Brandon Ingram has 16 offers. Chat with 11. Guys like Rudy Gobert, Aaron Gordon, Alfred Sengun, guys that are the top players still in the portal, have not committed anywhere yet. Oh, and by the way, for anybody that saw Tyrese Maxey was a restricted free agent, he was the only one. I'm making sure they don't match it, just for the people that noticed that. So officially, the transfer portal is over. Players can still commit places, but now it's time to show you guys the second part of me turning the NBA into March Madness. All right, so as you guys can see, there's a lot less games than normal. I believe it's only 29 to 30 games now in a regular season. So that's closer to how college would be. They're more closer to the 30 game range than the 82 game range. Third part of now this league being more like college is there is no conferences. I got rid of the Western and Eastern Conference. So now teams can place in the playoffs as long as they have a good enough record. And now we can see there's officially 36 teams, and technically I could add more with expansion teams as well. So yeah, there's still a lot of very good players that teams could go sign. So we'll have to keep track on that. But right now, let's go take a quick look at each roster. So I'm just going to go really quick through these lineups, and we're going to see if any team really sticks out to us. First, we have Wisconsin. They have Shea and KD and Julius Randle. That's a pretty good team. Next up, we have Baylor. They have Cade, Michael Porter Jr., not on the level of that last Wisconsin team, but they might be all right. Next, we have Duke, who in real life obviously is one of the best schools, but here they didn't really get a lot of commits. D'Lo, Anthony Simons, Benedict Mathurin, Colin Sexton off the bench. This is one of the teams that should definitely be in that late signing period to try and pick up some better players. Next up, we have Purdue, Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, one of the Thompsons, Aaron Gordon. This team might be all right. Again, that Wisconsin team might be an outlier compared to the other teams, but this team, again, doesn't really have a superstar player, so it might be rough for them. Next up, we have UCLA. They have Maxey. They have Scoot, Trey Murphy. A little weak on the big department. See how they play out. Next up, we have Ohio State. This is one of the teams that are not currently in the bracket, but I believe they have some of the most active players in the league, so that's why I decided to add them. John Morant is on this team. Paul George, Pascal. This is a pretty solid team. They have some holes at the shooting guard and center position, but again, there's still more commits that they can go get, so maybe they'll fill those positions out. Next up, we have Gonzaga. They have Steph and they have AD, but other than that, they didn't really get any good commits. So again, would be a team that benefits a lot if they can go get more players in this late period. Next up, we have Louisville, and they got Embiid, and that was kind of like the only guy that really got him. So Embiid might struggle, but he also might put up a lot of good counting stats. Next up, we have BYU, and they got Kristaps and that's also kind of all they have as well. Next up, we have Houston. Jordan Poole, Zach LaVine, Jalen Williams, James Harden off the bench. James Harden being 81 overall is kind of crazy. Again, a solid team compared to the teams we've seen so far. Again, I don't know if we like in real life. If I looked at this team, I'd say probably not too great. But maybe where we're at right now, this team might be pretty solid. Then we got the Cyclones. They got LaMelo, and again, that's all they really have. So those other teams we were looking at earlier might be better than what we thought. Next up, we have Wake Forest. So this is a team that I put in that also is not currently in the tournament. The reason why I put them in is because they have a lot of history of good players coming from Wake Forest going to the NBA. I believe Tim Duncan is their best player, but they have a couple more, so that's why I decided to add them. We got Damian Lillard, got Bam, but again, nobody too good. I don't know why Kobe White wouldn't be starting, but if coach doesn't want to start him, coach doesn't want to start him. Next up, we have Oregon. They have Paulo, but that is it. They didn't even sign like solid players. They have 73s all around Paulo. Not very good. Next up, we have Illinois, who has Darius Garland, Josh Giddey, Keontae George off the bench. Nothing too much to say about this team. They might end up being sneaky good, but I doubt it. Florida, they have Trey Jones, Shaedon Sharpe, Jaime Jaquez, OG Anunoby, CJ McCollum off the bench. Cal, they have Trey Young, Bradley Beal, Chet, Emmanuel Quickley off the bench. I actually really like this team. This team might be pretty solid, and again, they can still get more commits to fill out that 3 and 4 slot, and they might be very good. Watch out for Cal. Next up, we have Marquette. They have DeMar, and that's kind of it. Next up, Indiana. We have the Jalen Brunson connection back here in Indiana, and they have Brandon Ingram. That's a pretty good team. Next up, we have Georgetown. Now, I added Georgetown because of the other two reasons is because they had some pretty good players go to the NBA from Georgetown, so I decided to add them. But their team isn't very good. Bruce Brown, Kevon Huerter, Grant Williams, James Wiseman, not a very good team. Then we have UConn. They have Jimmy Butler and Kawhi and Jokic. Now that is a very good team, especially if they can get some players in the portal still. That team might win it all. Kansas, they ended up bringing Evan Mobley and Sadiq Bey, and they have some solid overall players to fill out the rest of our squad. Next we have Texas. They have Jamal Murray, Lauri Markkanen, and Zion. That center position's looking pretty rough, though. Jay Huff at a 67 overall. I don't think that's going to be their best center by like a month into the season. Probably going to assign somebody else to fix that, because that's a very big hole. Next we have Arkansas, who has Luka and Kyrie back together. Also have Franz Wagner. That is an insane squad. Next we have Texas Tech, who actually probably has the overall best lineup we've seen so far. De'Aaron Fox, Desmond Bane, Chris Middleton, Sabonis. That's a pretty good team. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis back together. I like it. Next up, we have St. John's. They have Giannis and Kason Wallace. That's kind of it. They might struggle. Next up, we have Alabama. And they have Mikal Bridges and Pod, Dyson Daniels, Cole Anthony off the bench. Not too good. Oklahoma, they have DeJounte, Dylan Brooks, John Isaac, Ihart, Draymond Green. Overall, again, a pretty solid lineup. All pretty much 80 pluses. They might be pretty good. Now, Michigan State, they have Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown, Nurkic, Brogdon, Valanciunas off the bench. Pretty solid squad. Next up, we have UNC, and now this is one of the teams that's pretty stacked. D-Book, Derek White, Jason Tatum, and Wemby. That's a pretty good team. Next up, we have Maryland. They have Lonzo, one of the Thompsons, Brandon Miller, RJ Barrett off the bench. Again, another solid squad. LSU was another team that just have a lot of players that's been to the league, so I decided to add them. They have Jalen Suggs, and that's pretty much it. Auburn, they have Drew Holiday, Jaden Ivey, and Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyler Hero off the bench. Why is Tyler Hero off the bench? I don't think he's been on the bench for a couple seasons now. In real life, because he was obviously a six-man for the start of his career. Next up, we have USC. They have Tyrese Halliburton, and that's pretty much it. Next up, we have Tennessee. Terry Rozier, Devin Vassell, Bobby Portis, Cam Thomas off the bench. They're a pretty solid squad. Next up, we have Arizona. They have Clay and Al Horford. Not a very good team. Next up, we have Michigan. They have Anthony Edwards and LeBron. That's a pretty solid big two, but the rest of their team isn't amazing. Again, solid though. They just need a point guard. They should definitely be looking for that in the portal. So maybe they'll find that. But if they do, that's a pretty good squad. So that's all the squads. Leave me know down below in the comments who you guys think the best team is right now before the late season transfer portal. Again, let's go look at who's still there. Again, a lot of solid players. Jared Allen, Scotty Barnes, Sengun. The position that is definitely the weakest is this point guard position. So that team with LeBron and Anthony Edwards should definitely try and get one of these guys, but they're not going to find anybody great. Positions that are really good though are the forward and the center position. There are plenty of good players still available in those positions. So if teams need them, they should definitely go and try and grab them. But I'm just going to sim these first 2 weeks and see where people sign. So here we can see where all these players end up committing to. Tobias goes to Wisconsin, Miles Bridges, Texas, Wendell Carter, Tennessee. But I'm not going to go through all these names because it would take a while. I'm just going to go through and show you guys, and if I see any names that really stick out to me, I'll mention them and we'll talk about it. Here's all the names. Again, a lot of centers, a lot of forwards. Keegan Murray goes to Baylor. The Arkansas team picks up Miles Turner, so they might be pretty good. Jabari Smith Jr. goes to Illinois. Jared Allen, DeAndre Ayton, Alfred Sengun, they get their teams. Jaden Dern to Oregon to help Paulo out. Scotty Barnes goes to Duke, so there's a player for them because they were one of the teams we mentioned that definitely need to be active here in the portal. But those are all the big names. There's still some guys left. I'll go through the team intel one more time and see if anything sticks out to me as being big signings. Keegan Murray goes to this Baylor team, and now they have a pretty decent big three. Now, big three might be a stretch, but a good trio. Here's Duke with Scotty Barnes. They look a lot better after we've seen a lot of the teams. Purdue gets Jared Allen, and now they look like a very solid squad. Ohio State gets Pascal Siakam. Louisville picks up Alfred Sengun, but they already had Embiid, so that wasn't really the position they needed. Here's Oregon with Paulo and Jalen Dern, but again, their team is not looking very good. They're 0 for 2 to start the year. They should still be in that portal trying to upgrade this team. Illinois with Jabari Smith Jr., they look pretty solid now. Here's Kansas. They got DeAndre Ayton, and now Evan Mobley has some help. So that was a big signing for them. And this Razorback team gets Miles Turner, so they look very, very good now. Oklahoma gets Nick Claxton, I believe, so they look a lot better. Arizona adds Rudy Gobert, but their team already wasn't very good. I don't know how much Rudy Gobert will really help. But they started 2-0 to start the season, so maybe they're pretty solid. Michigan hasn't even played a game yet, but they have Walker Kessler now, I believe, so that squad just gets even better. Still haven't picked up a point guard yet. That's something they should still be looking to do. And that's all the biggest moves so far. Now, I'm not going to go look at any more moves, but before I start simming, I just want you to know, trades are not enabled, so no teams are making trades. If they sign somebody, they're on the roster for the rest of the season. And let's sim to the All-Star break and see what teams are good and what teams are bad. All right, so here we are at the All-Star break. Let's go look at the standings and see where teams stand. St. John's is the 1 seed. But just Giannis, Clint Capella was a signing, I think, late into the year, so that definitely helped their team out. But this team would not be the team I would expect to be the number 1 seed right now. But they are. Giannis isn't even putting up insane stats. Then we have Arkansas. This is one of the teams that we expected. Looking pretty good. Next up, we have Oklahoma with DeJounte Murray and Nicholas Claxton. Again, this is one of the teams that were just solid. So I guess it makes kind of sense that they're up here. Next up, we have Kansas. Evan Mobley and DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton ended up being a very good signing for them, clearly, because they're the number 4 seed. Next up, we have Marquette. And they just have DeMar DeRozan. This is definitely not a team I would have expected at all to be here. And the last team we're going to look at here at the top of the rankings is number 6 seed UConn with Jimmy Butler and Kawhi and Jokic. Now, this is a team that we definitely expected to be here because this big three is just insane. Next up, let's look at who's at the bottom of the standings right now. Right now, Tennessee is the worst team in the league. And again, this is one of those teams that are just pretty solid. They don't really have a superstar player, but definitely a little worse than I thought they would be. Next up, we have Duke, who I feel like should not be this low at all. They have Anthony Simons, Benedict Mathurin, Scotty Barnes, Colin Sexton, D'Lo. Again, not a team I'd expect. And then the final team we're going to look at is this Georgetown team. Now, this is a team I think I'd expect to be pretty bad. I think they deserve to be here. And again, there's only like 29, 30 games in the season, so they don't have many games left to get into the playoffs. So these teams at the bottom here probably have to win out or they're out. If you're interested in the All-Stars, here you guys go. There's 3 UNC players there, not surprising. And then here's the West All-Stars. So it's time to sim to the end of the year and see what teams end up making it to March Madness. So the MVP of the league ends up going to Jokic. I don't know how the stats aren't there. The 6th man of the year ends up going to Kobe White. Wemby, defensive player of the year. Jalen Williams, most improved. Clutch player of the year ends up going to Shea. And the coach of Houston ends up winning coach of the year. So I'm assuming that's probably the best team in the league. But here you guys go with the all NBA teams if you guys are interested, all offensive teams. And let's see what teams made it. Again, there's no conference standing, so as you guys can see, the 1 is going against the 16 and the 2 is going against the 15. Sadly, there is no way to add more playoff teams because obviously March Madness is really 64 teams. In here we can only have 16. But that's as best as we could do. Here's the final standings for you guys. Arkansas ends up being the best team with 26 wins. This team makes a lot of sense. Then we have St. John's with Giannis. They were the number 1 seed when we checked at the All-Star break. Then Oklahoma is still up here again with DeJounte Murray and Nicholas Claxton. But only 16 teams made it, so that means majority of the league ended up not making it in. Now, Maryland is the first team out, and they were 18 and 17, so they were right here with the other 2 teams, but they don't make it in. So that's going to be the end of Maryland with Lonzo and Amen Thompson. Next up, we have UNC. They don't make it. They were a game out as well. Now, this team definitely should have been a team that should have been in it with Jason Tatum, Wemby, and Devin Booker, and Derek White, but they don't get in. So that's definitely a surprising team. Then we have BYU with Kristaps and Vucevic off the bench at 19. Also, only a game out. Michigan was a team that's pretty surprising. Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown end up not making it to March Madness. And the final team that was a game out of being in the playoffs was this Indiana team with Brunson, Brandon Ingram, and Cat. Again, very surprising team. Now we're getting the teams that were a couple games out from being in the bracket. We have Florida with CJ, Shaden Sharp, OG, Jaime Jaquez. Then we have Alabama with Mikal Bridges and Naz Reid. Then we have Auburn. They have Drew Holiday, Tyler Hero, Jaren Jackson, Jaden Ivey. Then we have Arizona. This team was not too good when we looked at them. They had Clay and Rudy Gobert. LSU only won 15 games. They have Jalen Suggs. That's it. Gonzaga ends up winning 14 games to Steph Curry and AD. Definitely surprising for them to be near the bottom of the league. Next up, we have Illinois. Darius Garland, Josh Giddey, Jabari Smith don't make March Madness. Purdue doesn't make it with Jalen Green, Asar Thompson, Aaron Gordon, Jared Allen, Fred VanVleet. That's a pretty solid lineup, and they don't end up making it. Wake Forest ends up not making it. They were the team that ended up with Dame and Bam. Then we have Baylor with Cade Cunningham, Michael Porter Jr., Keegan Murray. They don't make it. Iowa State with LaMelo Ball and Mitchell Robinson don't make it. Louisville doesn't make it. They had Joel Embiid and Alfred Sengun, who ended up starting, so that was good that they ended up doing that. But they don't end up making March Madness. And then you have Tennessee with Terry Rozier, Devin Vassell, Bobby Portis. They don't make it. Georgetown only ended up with 10 wins, which is just a not very good team. They don't end up making it. And the final team, Duke, ends up being the worst team, which obviously in real life is kind of the opposite. They are in March Madness still currently while I'm recording this video, but they end up being the worst team in the league with only 9 wins. Here are the league leaders if anybody is interested. Anthony Edwards led the league in scoring, then Steph, and then Paulo are the top 3 guys. Give you guys a little scroll down if you guys are interested in seeing this. There are your top 30 scorers. Right, finally we're going to get into the last part of how I made this more like March Madness. Obviously in the NBA it's a 7-game series for every single round, but in this video every single round is a 1-game elimination, just like March Madness. So in theory this 1 seed team can lose to the 16 seed team because it's only 1 game. Anything can happen in just 1 game. So just like March Madness in real life, anything could really happen. But here's the first game of March Madness. We have Wisconsin going against California. We're going to be simcasting every game because, again, it's only one game series. So if you lose, you are eliminated, and Cal's going to come out and just absolutely blow out Wisconsin. Cal was one of the teams we really liked. Here's a stat for you guys. Chet ends up dropping 24, and Shea ended up dropping 23, 6, and 10. The next game of the bracket is going to be 7 seed Kansas going against 10 seed Ohio State. You got Evan Mobley and DeAndre Ayton, and you got Ja Morant, Paul George, Pascal Siakam for Ohio State. Big first quarter for Ohio State, but Kansas kind of brings it back. It might be a close one. 3-game. Could we have our first jump in of March Madness? 1-point game. We are going to hop in here. All right, here we are. 1-point game. Ohio State is down, but they have the ball. Ja Morant, and they're going to call a timeout right away. It doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, inbounding the ball again. Hopefully they don't use their last timeout again, and they're going to, because somehow 2K has still not fixed this, and it's been a problem for multiple games. All right, so now they're officially out of timeouts, so they can't use another one, so we will actually have a possession here. Looks like they're going to take the clock down. They want the last shot. Now Kuzma will set a screen. Ja Morant's going to take it. He's going to take a 3, does not need it, and he's going to miss it. 3 seconds. The game is not over yet, but it would have been nice if Ohio State did not use their timeouts. So even if they make both of these free throws, Ohio State might have a chance to get a shot off. Well, they will have a chance to get a shot off. Will it be a good shot? We don't really know because, again, they wasted 3 of their timeouts on 1 possession for some reason. And Mike Conley hits both free throws. So it looks like they're probably going to go for a half-court heave. Pascal Siakam. It was pretty close, but Kansas will be eliminating Ohio State in the first round. Here are the stats. Ja Morant ended up fouling out, but he had 18, and Sadiq Bey ended up having 19. All right, next game we have number 5 Texas Tech going against number 12 Houston. Houston has Zach LaVine and Jalen Williams, and Texas Tech has De'Aaron Fox, Desmond Bane, Chris Middleton, and Sabonis. Texas Tech is obviously at home, being the higher seed. Are we going to have another close one here, or is it going to be a blowout? And Texas Tech will be beating Houston by a decent margin. De'Aaron Fox drops 36, Zach LaVine drops 25, but it is not enough. Next up, we have number 8 Michigan going against number 9 UCLA. So these 8-9 matchups are always pretty much a toss-up. So who knows who's going to come out on top in this one. UCLA has Tyrese Maxey, and Michigan has Anthony Edwards and LeBron. Again, it's an 8-9 matchup, so really anything can happen. Tied in the first quarter, looking like a pretty close one. We might have a game to jump in here. Let's slow it down. Michigan is up by 4 with 6 minutes left. Can UCLA close the gap, or will Michigan keep up the lead? It looks like they are going to maintain the lead, and they're going to get a win here at home, and they will. LeBron James drops 28, 8, and 9, and Anthony Edwards drops 27, 6, and 5. Hard to beat that. Maxey tried with 36, but it was not enough. Next up, we have number 3 Oklahoma going against number 14 Marquette. Marquette again has DeMar DeRozan, and Oklahoma has DeJounte Murray and Nicholas Claxton. Can this be our first big upset? We did have number 10 beat number 7, but that's only a 3-place upset. A 14 beating a number 3 would be definitely a huge upset. Let's see if Marquette can do it, and they come out and win the first quarter by a decent margin. But Oklahoma brings it back, and that's a pretty good lead. That's a 4-point lead with a minute left for Marquette. Can Oklahoma bring the lead down? And they're not going to. Number 14 Marquette beats number 3 Oklahoma. Marcus Sasser drops 21 for Oklahoma, but that's not what they needed. Payne Pritchard ends up dropping 22 and getting number 14 Marquette the lead. And we have our first round 2 matchup. It will be number 6 Cal versus number 14 Marquette. Next up, we have number 2 St. John's versus number 15 Maryland. Can we have another upset back-to-back? Maryland has Amen Thompson, RJ Barrett, and Lonzo Ball, while St. John's has Giannis. Number 2 going down would be pretty crazy, but they come out striking very hard in the first quarter, and it looks like they will not be the second upset of the video, and they will be number 15, Maryland. Lonnie Walker ends up dropping 21. RJ Barrett with 17 was not enough. And we have our second matchup for the second round, St. John's number 2 versus Kansas number 10. Next up, we have number 4, UConn going against number 13, Oregon. Oregon, again, is that Paulo team, and UConn has Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, and Jokic. Now, I think this would be the biggest upset so far because this UConn team is absolutely stacked, but they come out with a very good first quarter. They have a 12-point lead going into the fourth. Oh, and by the way, I think I forgot to mention, as you guys can see, the quarters are only 10 minutes long because in college, they only play 40-minute games. So, and I can't change it to halves. So to make up for that, we do 10-minute quarters instead to equal up to 40 minutes, just like college. Can Oregon close the gap here in the fourth quarter? And they will not. So we've only had one game to jump into so far in this first round. Jokic with 24. Paulo with 18 was not enough. And we have our next matchup, number 4, UConn versus number 5, Texas. And now we have our biggest seed gap so far, number 1, Arkansas versus number 16, Texas. Texas has Jamal Murray and Zion and Laurie. And Arkansas has Luka, Kyrie, Franz, and Miles Turner. Hasn't been any too crazy upsets yet. If you guys made a bracket, I'm sure most people could definitely have 100%. Texas is up big here. Arkansas is going to have a big fourth quarter to come back. And this might be the biggest upset. They're bringing it back, though. What a fourth quarter. A 19-8 fourth quarter so far, only down by 4. If they bring it down to a one-score game, I will hop in. Can they do it? They're down by 4. They're down by 6. Down by 4 again. It's looking out of reach. Down by 5. Down by 2. We'll hop in, but I don't think we're going to be in a good scenario for Arkansas. They almost came back in that fourth quarter. 3 seconds left. Texas has the ball. Arkansas has no timeouts. They're going to need to foul and hope for a missed free throw. And Jamal Murray, and they're not going to get a foul off. And Texas is going to beat number 1 Arkansas. I take back everything I said about there being a lot of perfect brackets, because that is an insane upset. Franz Wagner dropped 27, but Zion drops 26, 8, and 7 for the biggest upset there could possibly be. Hey, I guess that's why they call it March Madness, right? So now we have our final second round matchup locked in. Number 8 Michigan going against number 16 Texas. All right, now we have our first game of the second round with UConn going against Texas Tech. Here's another reminder of what the teams are looking like. This is a 4-5 matchup, so it could go either way. Texas Tech comes out swinging in the first round. UConn is going to need a good second half, but they do have another good fourth quarter. Can we have a game to jump in here? 3-point game. Gonna have to bring it back. Texas is not going out. 3-point game. Can they get another score here? No scoring here in a very long time. 30 seconds. Texas Tech scores. And they will beat UConn. The Jokic, Kawhi, and Jimmy Butler team goes down to Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis with 20 points and 19 rebounds to get the win for Texas Tech. And they will be the first team in the Final Four. Next up, we have number 6 Cal going against number 14 Marquette. Here's another reminder of what the teams are looking like. Can Marquette keep the upsets going? Can they be the Cinderella story of the video? And it looks like they're going to keep it going. But Cal tried coming back in the fourth quarter, but it was not enough. Marquette, as the 14th seed, makes it all the way to the Final Four. Bradley Beal ends up dropping 20. But D. Terry, whoever D. Terry is, ends up being the guy for Marquette to get them to the Final Four. Next up, we have Michigan versus Texas. This is our other Cinderella story on the other side of the bracket with number 16 Texas trying to keep it going. They come out strong against Michigan, but Michigan brings it right back. Michigan has a very good fourth quarter, and Texas Cinderella story is officially over, Anthony Edwards drops 29. Miles Bridges drops 22. Zion 21. And we have our first matchup in the Final Four with Texas Tech going against Michigan, 5 versus 8. And we have our last matchup here in the Elite 8 with St. John's going against Kansas. Here's what the teams are looking like, and let's hop in and see if Kansas can go ahead and make it to the Final Four, or if St. John's is just too good for them and they blow them out. What a first quarter from Kansas, but somehow St. John's brings it back with those 2 quarters. We might have a close one. We haven't had too many games to jump in, and I say it, and the end of the game goes all St. John's way, and they end up coming back from that big first quarter deficit with Giannis putting up 23 and Kansas just not being able to score. So we have both of our Final Four matchups locked in, with number 5 Texas Tech going against number 8 Michigan, and number 2 St. John's going against number 14 Marquette. And the first matchup is going to be St. John's versus Marquette. Can Marquette keep it rolling? They beat number 3 Oklahoma. They beat number 6 Cal. Could they keep the Cinderella story going and beat number 2 St. John's? St. John's with a pretty good first half. Marquette with a good third quarter, and now it's only a 1-score game. Let's slow it down. Marquette takes the lead here in the fourth quarter. Can we have a game to jump into as long as they keep it close? A minute 20 left. A minute 13 left. We have another game to jump in. Marquette is up by 2. The championship game is in their sights. St. John's has the ball. They have a chance to tie the game up here. Giannis is in the game. Going to get the ball to Giannis down low, and it ends up being tipped, but they will retain possession. Ball back into Giannis. Giannis is going to take a jumper. He ends up missing. Lamar with the ball. Lamar's trying to go quick. He passes inside. And Patrick Williams with the clutch bucket to bring the lead up to 4. Giannis to the basket. Wide open layup. He misses. Patrick Williams is the star of the show right now, getting a bucket on Giannis and then stopping him on the wide open drive. They're double teaming, and DeMar DeRozan is wide open for the basket. It looks pretty much over here for St. John's. Giannis is driving again for another open layup. He hits this one. Can they get a steal off the inbound? They kind of need it. They're going to get it into DeMar. That's not the guy you want shooting free throws. He's going to hit the first one. He's going to hit the second one. Going to have to put up threes here for St. John's. Marquette. The championship game is in their sights. Giannis is going to drive again. He's going to miss another wide open layup. Patrick Williams, hand him the MVP trophy for this game, because he was the deciding factor, locking down Giannis in the stretch. DeMar with 22. He even got buckets up with 17 points and 11 rebounds, and Marquette is going to the championship. Now on the other side, number 5 Texas Tech going against number 8 Michigan. Here are the teams one final time, and let's see who's going to go against Marquette in the finals. It's a close one here through 3 quarters, but then Michigan comes out swinging. Can they keep the lead, or can Texas Tech come back? It's a pretty big lead with 2 minutes left. Texas Tech is going to have to go on a run. Nobody has scored in the last minute, and Michigan will eliminate Texas Tech. So we have number 8 Michigan versus number 14 Marquette in the championship game. I'm sure most people would not have projected that, but I told you this is what's special about March Madness. Anybody could end up going to the championship game. So it will end up being DeMar DeRozan and Patrick Williams going against Anthony Edwards and LeBron James in this final matchup. Let me know down below in the comments who you guys want to win this. I kind of want the Cinderella story to pan out with number 14 Marquette. They've beaten the 3, the 6, and the 2 seed team to make it here. And let's see who ends up taking it all. I'm going to slow this one down, or at least a little bit compared to the other one. Marquette with the lead, but Michigan, close one throughout the first quarter. Throughout one, it's tied up. But then Michigan starts fast in the second quarter. Marquette's kind of bringing the lead down, but Michigan is still hot. And Michigan, oh, it's close. And Michigan will end up winning the second quarter. So Marquette is going to have a big second half and they do not come out fast. Michigan with the big lead going to the fourth quarter. The Cinderella story looks over, down by 20 here in the fourth, and Marquette almost won it all. A beautiful season for them. No one really expected them to make it all the way. We'll hop in here, watch a little bit, but Michigan will be your March Madness champions. Late here in the game with a minute left, Anthony Edwards has 36 and LeBron has 35. Peyton Pritchard with 23. DeMar DeRozan with only 13. You would have liked to see more out of him in an elimination game, especially in the championship. But they're just not going to get it done. They also played away for every single game. DeMar DeRozan still trying to bring it back even though there's a minute left with a nice layup. LeBron's wearing number 41. That's pretty disgusting, but if that's what he wants to do. Lou Dort, pull-up jumper. He's going to miss. Walker Kessler with the rebound. LeBron for three. And LeBron's going to hit it. Pouring salt into the wounds of Marquette. Chris Dunn with for three. Misses. It's going to be the final shot for Michigan. Going to hold the ball and waste the clock. LeBron with the ball. Going to drive to the basket. Layup is good. And that will be the March Madness tournament. Michigan is going to win it all. Hey, Michigan is still in the tournament in real life. They could win it. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe you guys should put all your money on Michigan. Do not actually do that. Don't listen to me. But hey, Michigan fans, if you guys don't end up winning it in real life, at least you won it in my video, right? You guys will always have that. Oh, a Boston Celtics shirts. Nice. LeBron in the Celtics shirt does not look right at all. Anthony Edwards is going to win the Finals MVP. At least that's what the thing is showing. We've had it before where they showed somebody getting the Finals MVP and it ends up not being them. But in the final game, LeBron drops 40 points. Anthony Edwards drops 36. Peyton Pritchard had 23 for Marquette. And DeMar had 15. And Michigan is your March Madness winners. And Anthony Edwards actually does win the Finals MVP. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe down below. I tried my best to make it look the most like March Madness. Obviously, there are some things I couldn't do just because 2K doesn't have it in the game. But I tried my best. And I'll see you guys in the next one.